Do you say, these eggs are bad? Or, these eggs have gone off? Well, my guess is that where possible, you avoid phrasal verbs and choose the easy option. The thing is, most learners say, there are too many phrasal verbs, or they don't make sense, or I can't remember them all. But phrasal verbs are everywhere in English, so it's really, really important to learn them. And the problem is, you're learning them the wrong way. Most people are. So today, I'm going to show you the LEMUR method, a system that helps you remember phrasal verbs forever, and this method will help you finally understand phrasal verbs, use them naturally, and feel confident speaking English. Are you ready? This is going to change the way you learn phrasal verbs and vocabulary forever. Let's go. Okay, let's be honest. Phrasal verbs drive learners crazy. Why? Well, because there's no logic between the verb and the little participle and the meaning. Like, basically, put up a friend means let them sleep in your house. Put up. But put down a pet means to end its life. Put up, put down, there's no rule, there's no logic. And traditional methods, like memorizing a huge list for a test in your class, don't really work. I mean, it's more like a memory test. You learn them, you do the exam, and you forget them a week later. And that's why I created the LEMUR method. This is a really smart way to learn phrasal verbs. So, if you're new here, I'm Greg, and I make grammar and British pronunciation simple so that you can reach an advanced level of fluency. And before we start, in this video, I'm going to teach you how to learn phrasal verbs forever, okay? But I'm also going to share with you a free ebook that I wrote a while ago with the 100 most common phrasal verbs that we use in everyday English. So there's the ebook. Don't learn them all at once, okay? There are 100 everyday phrasal verbs there. Don't learn them all at once. That goes against the LEMUR method. But if you've ever wondered what the most common phrasal verbs are in English, well, they're in that book. So you can click up there, you can scan the QR code, and I've also put a link in the description for you. So, what is the LEMUR method, and how can it help us learn phrasal verbs and vocabulary better? Well, LEMUR is something that I invented, and it stands for Learn by Exposure, Meaning, Understanding, Repetition. So, let's break it down step by step. L, learn by, okay, I'm cheating with that one. So the L is for learn by, okay, so this is how you're going to learn. E is for exposure. So this is a chronological list, okay, and the first thing that you should do when you're learning phrasal verbs or learning vocabulary is start by exposing yourself to phrasal verbs naturally. I'm talking about in short, real-life stories, either in books or podcasts or videos. For example, look at this. I freaked out when I saw a spider on my arm. You see, that sentence gives you an emotion, a story. If somebody actually says that to you, they would probably say, well, I freaked out when I saw a spider on my arm. Okay, if you lived that situation and you saw the spider on her arm and you saw her reaction and then she said, woof, I freaked out when I saw that spider on my arm, then that sentence carries even more emotion. And the thing is, your brain loves emotion. It really helps vocabulary stick. And I can honestly think of many, many situations in Spanish and in French where I can remember where I was when I learned a particular word. And usually it's because there was some sort of emotion attached to that moment. So when you learn a word in a situation that gives you emotion, and the best way to do this is with some sort of story, then it sticks. Okay, let's move on to the M of LEMUR. which stands for meaning, okay? After you have been exposed to it and heard the phrasal verb in context, hopefully attached to some emotion, now it's time to discover the meaning. Now you can either discover the meaning from maybe a dictionary, but the best way is to actually asking the person what that means, yeah? Or just deduce the meaning from the situation. Using the example of the spider again, okay, you're standing there with a friend, there's a huge spider on her arm, and she goes, ah, freaks out, and then she tells you, whoa, I freaked out when I saw that spider on my arm. Okay, you know what that means now. You know, because you saw the situation, and she's describing that. I freaked out. Ah, okay. You freaked out. You sure did. Okay? But generally, if you're in a situation where you're learning English, which is the most likely situation for you, then the time to find out the meaning of a phrasal verb is after being exposed to it and not before. Okay? Live the emotion, then find out the meaning. That's the order that most people mix up, but that's not natural. The most natural way, and when you think about kids, how they learn, first they hear the word and then they deduce the meaning of that word. And more often than not, context will give you that meaning. Okay, so we've had the E, we've had the M, now it's the U, which is understanding. So, when you're learning English, first you are exposed to the phrasal verbs or the vocabulary. Okay? Maybe on a TV show, a movie, a podcast, a book, a newspaper. Then you learn the meaning. Then the next step is to listen or watch or read that thing again. But this time, your brain recognizes that phrasal verb. Okay? Recognizes the vocabulary instantly. So you understand it. If you're watching Friends to learn English, don't ever think, oh, I'm not going to watch that episode because I've already watched it. We watched it yesterday. No. If you're watching Friends to learn English, watch it again because that's the you in LEMUR. Okay? You've watched it. You've been exposed to lots of English. Then you can learn the meaning of some things from that episode and then watch it again because this time you'll understand the things that you've learned. Okay? You're not memorizing. You're watching it and you're understanding. And that's when it actually starts to feel easy. Now, the letter R in the LEMUR system is repetition. So after you've been exposed to the new vocabulary, you've learned the meaning, now you understand the meaning, now it's your turn to actually use it in real sentences, in real life. Either in a natural situation, like talking to a colleague or a teacher or a friend in English, or in a more artificially created situation, like you talking to yourself or just writing a journal or a diary about what you've been doing that day. But use it, okay? Because that repetition will reinforce your understanding of the phrasal verb. Now, an important thing to note about this part is that you really want to use it in sentences, okay, in context. So if you've learned the phrasal verb pay back, it's not very helpful the next day to just say, pay back. No. Use it in a sentence. Hey, I'll pay you back tomorrow. Okay? I'll pay you back tomorrow. Use real sentences, preferably in real context, then that helps real memory. Okay? Remember the expression, use it or lose it. Okay? It's an expression we use often in English, and it's very, very true when we're talking about phrasal verbs and vocabulary. So repetition is your best friend. Really, I should have called this the LEMUR method because repetition. Okay? The more you repeat it, the longer you will remember it. And it is scientifically proven that when you review the same phrasal verb or whatever vocabulary within 24 hours, and again a few days later, you will remember it much, much longer than if you wait a week to review what you have learned. Okay, and each repetition strengthens your memory, so soon you'll say phrasal verbs automatically without translating or without thinking of them or just without avoiding them, which is possibly what you currently do. Okay, so the LEMUR method, it follows how your brain actually naturally remembers information. Okay, the exposure creates curiosity. The meaning gives you clarity. The understanding means that next time you hear it, you understand it, and that builds confidence, and repetition locks it in to your long-term memory. As I said before, it's very similar to how children learn how to speak, and that shows that it's a pretty effective way of language acquisition. Now, if you like this method and you want to try it for yourself, you can join me for the 10-day phrasal verb challenge. You can start right now and you'll master 101 essential phrasal verbs in just 10 days using this very LEMUR system that I created and that I've talked about in this video. It's a very practical and fun course. You'll finally remember the most important phrasal verbs, you'll learn how to use them, and you will remember them forever. So yeah, there's a link up there, there's a link in the description too. You can also scan that QR code and join the 10-day challenge. Now, one more thing. One reason phrasal verbs are so tricky is that they often don't translate. Now, if you're actually still translating in your head when you're speaking English, stop right now, okay? It's the worst thing you can do. It really, really negatively affects the way that you speak English. But in that video, I'm going to give you 4 simple ways to stop doing that and to start thinking in English when you're speaking English. That's really going to help you speak faster, speak more naturally, and express yourself more easily in English. If you've liked this lesson, just write LEMUR in the comments. Oh, and there's a link to the challenge. Bye for now.